this Michigan football scandal is worse than the Astros or the Patriots back in 2007. The hyperbole has hit an all-time high. These writers, these national guys trying to get clicks are just throwing out the craziest stuff over the last, 12 to 14 hours since about midnight last night. And I'm going to address some of them because there are some ridiculous things that are being printed out there in regards to Michigan football. ESPN and late last night, like they dropped it at like 1 a.m., like a overnight news dump or something like that, and Yahoo Sports both published other articles today here on Friday on this Michigan football SpyGate 2 situation. And the Michigan Football Report is presented by Manscaped. Folks, the new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra has launched. Get yourself 20% off and free shipping, manscaped.com. Promo code GOBLUE. Jim Harbaugh addressed this last night, a couple hours after we published our second show yesterday. He says, I have no awareness of anyone on our staff having done that or having directed that action, yada, yada, yada. He basically says throughout his career, his awareness, they follow the rules, right? Everything he does has been firmly within the rules. So Jim Harbaugh addressed the allegations, denies them. And I think it's a good thing. I wish Ward Manuel would have done that in his very lazy statement, which we told you that was lazy and seemed, right down the middle. He should have said, this NCAA allegation is total crap, and I support Jim Harbaugh, but he didn't. Jim Harbaugh does go full on and denies it. We'll see how things shake out here over the next, a few weeks as Michigan awaits hearing from the NCAA, which I'll tell you about here in a second. And today's show, Sam Webb. I take everything I've said back about you, Sam. The truth teller, Sam Webb, spit in the fire, and kind of agreeing with the things I said yesterday here on the Michigan Football Report. Before we jump into all of that, the question to start today's show is, will Jim Harbaugh be Michigan football's head coach next season, 2024? Already suspended for 3 games this year. By the way, Brett, see that tweet I put out yesterday? Not crazy to think maybe Jim Harbaugh was going around games when he was suspended, right? Is there actually any evidence where he watched the games? Could have been wearing disguises, just traveling up the road to East Lansing, traveling to Ohio State. Maybe he's the guy that was spying on opponents. But will he be Michigan's head coach next year in 2024? 2 NCAA investigations going on right now in the Michigan football program. The NFL is going to come after him, I would guess, after this 3rd straight very strong season for this program. Just give me a yes or no down in the comments. The top story in the ESPN hit piece overnight, and the guy's name, no one's ever heard of him. Now he is really the top story in college football. Connor Stallions, the NCAA investigation surrounding him, former Marine, retired from the Marines in May of 2022 as a captain, came to Michigan football. Now, who is this mystery man, this Jason Bourne 2.0, James Bond of college football, Connor Stallions? Let's take a look at him, what we know about him. Was hired in May of 2022. Prior to that, was enlisted in the Marines for 5, 6, 7 years from what I can ascertain. And during that entire time, from 2015 to 2022, even though he's living in California, was working as an unpaid assistant coach, leaving some reports out there that he would fly to Michigan games to help out on game day on his own dime, was bought a house, was renting it out as an Airbnb to pay for his trips going back to Michigan for games to try and get into coaching eventually. Both his parents are Michigan grads, although he didn't go to Michigan, went to the Naval Academy, and then enrolled into the Marines afterwards. Now, things are looking a little weird, though, because he did delete all of his social media. We're talking Twitter. We're talking Instagram. His LinkedIn account that listed like all his high-tech spy techniques that he learned at the Marines that he's going to use as a football coach, which maybe looks bad in a lot of ways for what he's doing at Michigan and what's accused of potentially by the NCAA. He retired as a Marine captain in 2022, but apparently he's been around the program for the entire time that Jim Harbaugh has. I have yet to see if there's any pre-existing relationship, as his time with Michigan as an unpaid assistant and coming now as a full-time really lines up with when Jim Harbaugh got the job to start the 2015 season. Here's a picture of him, 2021, when he was an unpaid assistant, right, in the locker room holding up the trophy, and with Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy. This is also in 2021. These are some of the few photos that people captured from his Instagram account before it was deleted. overnight, it seems. I went to check and Google him this morning. Boom, all of his stuff has been deleted. Now, Michigan is still waiting on the NCAA. We told you yesterday, the expectation around the program that they were working with from the Big Ten is that the NCAA would give them the information, what they're actually accused of, and maybe even who or which schools made the accusations and what came of it. But as of now, we're talking about 3 o'clock or so here, Eastern time, filming this. Nothing has been reported to Michigan. So the Wolverines waiting on the NCAA, and we'll see what comes of it. I really hope that there's more, there's at least some substance to what Michigan finds out, and not just these baseless, as far as I can see, allegations. As Michigan, staffer Connor Stallions, the NCAA wants to get a piece of his laptop, get a hold of his laptop, see what he was doing in his role for Michigan. Next, we're going to talk more about this ESPN midnight hit piece, go a level deeper. But I've got some breaking news for you, folks. Manscaped has launched maybe the greatest product ever, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. I'm one of the first ones to get it. This thing is awesome. I've been trimming up all over my body with the Manscaped Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. It is featuring a new cutting-edge design and next-generation dual skin-safe blade heads for different shaves. It's pretty much a spaceship to take your boys downstairs to the next level. Loving using this Manscaped Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. It's the ultimate game changer for me. It's an understatement to say that. The 5th generation trimmer features 2 next-gen interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, a standard trimmer blade for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go for that smooth finish wherever your heart's desires. Join 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get yourself the new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Check this bad boy out. It is amazing. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code GOBLUE. No spaces. GOBLUE. 20% off and free shipping. Look at the features on this bad boy. Dual temp LED spotlight, so it lights up if you're trying to get some light down there. Waterproof, take it in the shower. 60 minutes of runtime. USB-C charger and constant RPM motor. So that thing is just humming the entire time you are trimming up the twig and berries. Manscaped.com. Use promo code GOBLUE. So take a look at this ESPN report. This is one of the biggest hit jobs with absolutely no basis in fact that I've ever seen in my life. So go read it if you want. It's on ESPN.com, etc. How about this little piece of it? A source tells ESPN that the Wolverines have used an elaborate scouting system to steal signals from future opponents since at least 2021. Well, that's not illegal. That's not a violation, right? You actually have to do more than that. Anybody can view games, and anybody could look at signals, etc., etc. But how about this quote right here that they told ESPN Pete Thamel? And right, he doesn't say a source at the Big Ten. He says a Big Ten source. Brett, you're a Big 12 source. You went to school at Kansas State, Big 12, and Michigan, and grad school Michigan, Big 12 source, Big 10 source. So I got a Big 10 source. Says Pete Thamel is a son of a bitch. That is Brett Scott right there, but we're not naming names here. This is worse than both the Astros and the Patriots. You've got to be kidding me. It's both use of technology for competitive advantage, and there's allegations that they are filming prior to games, not just in games. So let me tell you what, Pete, every single game is filmed in a college football in the Big Ten. So I'm not sure if you're surprised with that. But who is this Pete Thamel, right? You might see him on College Game Day the last year, maybe last year as well. This is Sports Illustrated for a long time. This is the guy who got duped as big as anybody in college football history has ever gotten duped. He is the one that did this massive piece in Sports Illustrated in September of 2012, telling the world the sorrow story of Manti Te'o and his girlfriend dying of cancer. I can't believe he's playing like this. Pete Thamel, you're the one who introduced fake news to the world. Before Trump, it was Pete Thamel who introduced fake news to the world. Pete is the kind of guy, if you want a story put out there. If you want something happens, if Ryan Day wanted to say that, oh my gosh, hey, C.J. Stroud is throwing the ball 95 yards and hitting donuts off the top of a cone or something like that, Pete Thamel would say, well, send me video. Thamel wouldn't say send me video of that, or let me come see it for myself. He would just say verified fact, true. The guy does absolutely no research. He only looks for sources that push the agenda, push the story that he wants to tell. Take a look at these screenshots that I found. Pretty easy there. Business Insider, kind of a hack organizations themselves, but Sports Illustrated writer Pete Thamel explains how he got duped by the Manti Te'o hoax. Well, let me tell you how he did absolutely no research, verified nothing, and believed everything he was told. How about this one from On3, who didn't exist in 2013, so I'm not sure how this article got on their website, but nevertheless, the two biggest losers of the Manti Te'o story, Pete Thamel and Pat Forty. Both guys, they should probably work at The Athletic because they just pander fake news. Pete Thamel has been an agent and a deliverer of one-sided stories for decades now. He's now brought that to a bigger platform, to ESPN, continues to do it at ESPN. He could have talked to people in and around the Michigan football program. He could have got former staffers, right? There's plenty of Michigan staffers that left the program, come on, over the last 3 years, right, going back to 2021. But he didn't. So this is worse than the Astros, worse than the Patriots, and he's not going to do anything to say, well, is it really? Why is it? No, fair and balanced journalism. This reminds me, okay, I don't want to be hyperbole, but this reminds me from 2 years ago, the January 6th riot, insurrection, whatever you want to call it. These media members saying, this is worse than 9/11. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. You gotta be absolutely kidding me with claims like that. That's what this reminds me of. Complete BS. How serious do you guys, though, consider these allegations against Michigan? An elaborate network of spies, all this crazy stuff with absolutely no proof so far. I put it as 5.5, 6 at this point. The fact that the Big Ten's involved, the fact that it kind of came out of nowhere, you got to give it a little validity, but I'm going 5 or 6. I don't think anything's really going to impact the program. I don't think they have vacated wins or suspensions, but let me know what you guys think, scale of 1 to 10. Oh, Yahoo Sports had to have their turn in another hit piece after yesterday, kind of breaking this news. Ohio State staff members knew of the issue ahead of their game against the Wolverines last season in 2022, so the staff changed things up ahead of the game to combat the signaling issue. One support member, not an actual coach, right, told Yahoo, oh, really? They changed it up. So what you're saying there, Yahoo Sports, an unnamed Ohio State staff member who probably doesn't even exist, just trust me, bro, Michigan didn't have any advantage, and it didn't seem to help because they still beat the number 2 team at their house with no help from any of their elaborate scheme of signal stealing, still beat them by 3 touchdowns. So, what do you know? That's just what my take is on that. I think this entire thing is journalistic malpractice. I have yet to see a single shred of evidence at all in any of these reports other than Michigan's good at scouting, right? Anybody can watch TV. Anybody can watch things at games. There's yet to be a single thing of evidence that anyone goes to games or does any of these things that have to be claimed for this to be illegal. And in the Yahoo piece, this is the photo they ran with. This is what's the guy's name? I forget the guy's name. Connor Stallions, right? This is him on the sideline. This is the evidence that was in the very top of their article. They tweeted out a bunch of times, circling him. That's the sideline at Michigan games. No matter what he does in the sideline at Michigan games, it's not against any rule for the NCAA or the football games. So if he's the one that is doing this, shouldn't he be at other teams' games rather than on the sideline? Now, the article will say he was standing next to Jim Harbaugh or Jesse Minter, and a signal assignment would go in, and he'd know what to do. He'd say, oh, he's going to tell Michigan what play is being called. If he is that smart, go to Wall Street, pal, and make yourself $1 trillion, because if you can, on the snap of a fly, know every single call that every single college football team is going to make and instantly tell the Michigan defensive or offensive coordinator in a matter of seconds so they can get that play in before the team gets up to the line of scrimmage, you should be making trillions because you're probably the smartest guy on planet Earth. Think about this NCAA investigation, folks. I just want to know who the rat is. Who is the rat? Who's the one going out there and saying that Michigan is doing all this? I think there's people saying it's Matt Rule at Nebraska. There's been some conversation on that. The Rutgers coach, Greg Schiano, in his halftime statements. So we're going to find out. There is one person making a claim, though, that I'll tell you about next. But did want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel. Third video in 24 hours on SpyGate 2, and we will have a post-game show for you late Saturday night, and then our Overreaction Sunday on Sunday afternoon for Michigan and Michigan State tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 Central on NBC. Wolverines favored by 24 points against the Spartans on the road. Hit that subscribe button. So who's the rat here? Seems like a lot of anonymous coaches and sources silent for 2 years, 3 years, going back 3 seasons, and all of a sudden, one news story from Yahoo Sports comes out that everybody wants to talk in the last 24 hours. That seems a little sketchy. I can write an article right now that says, I've talked to Big Ten sources who say this is completely fabricated by Yahoo Sports and the NCAA in an elaborate scheme to take Jim Harbaugh down, and I have used the same amount of actual credible evidence that these articles have. But there's one man. There is one man who has told the truth, folks, and that is 24/7 WTKA radio host, the arbiter of truth, Sam Webb. I've never said a bad word about him, and this is the reason why, is because he knows who's talking to the NCAA. How about this article? Saw this on Twitter. I had to screenshot it. Weblong. Who's crying to the NCAA about Michigan stealing signs? Here's a prime suspect. And the article goes on to say, well, it's got to be Ryan Day for whatever reason that it is. Pretty amusing. And I'll tell you what, if you don't subscribe to Sam Webb's website, go give him some money right now, because damn it, that man tells the absolute truth. He has never fabricated a single thing. He has never spun anything in Michigan's direction, positive or negative. He only tells the absolute fact, and that is why Sam Webb has been around Michigan football for 25 years. Got to be the best in the business. If Sam Webb says it, folks, it's got to be true. Ohio State, you are the rat. Speaking of Ohio State, as always, the game is now, 5 weeks from tomorrow in Michigan, Ohio State, or 6 weeks. 5 weeks. Yeah, 5 weeks from tomorrow. Beat Ohio State again. That is the mantra. This is almost the fourth calendar year we have been putting this into play. And, of course, Ohio State has not beat Michigan since this legendary campaign slogan, Bosa, came into play. So if you've been with me, the Ohio State fans have been in the comments. I need you in the comments as well. Comment Bosa to drown out the haters. Michigan State fans, hell, Georgia fans, Ohio State have just been commenting, cheater, Ohio State, Michigan cheats. You can only beat Ohio State if you cheat, all that stuff. So let's drown them out. Comment Bosa as many times as your little heart desires if you're a Michigan football fan. If you're a Georgia fan, Ohio State fan, Notre Dame, Michigan State, I'm just blocking you, and then I'm coming to your house and beating you up because I'm sick of seeing you guys in the comments. I'll be back tomorrow night again with my Michigan and Michigan State postgame. Hit that sub button. Go Blue. And until I see you guys again, enjoy tomorrow's game.